Okay, so you want to own a luxury yacht charter company. You buy a polished motor yacht, hire a captain and a full crew, send it to the most expensive coastlines in the world, and charge wealthy guests hundreds of thousands of euros for 1 week aboard. They pay for their food, they pay for the fuel they use, they pay the port charges. You keep the yacht when you want it, rent it when you do not, and let other people cover the cost of your floating palace. That is the dream. Now put a calendar behind it. The yacht is available all year, but the weeks that command the highest rates are concentrated into a handful of summer dates, holidays, and major events. Those are also the weeks you bought the yacht to enjoy. The crew gets paid whether guests are aboard or not. The machinery needs service whether the calendar is full or empty. And one failed system in the middle of the season can damage faraway the charter happening now, the charter scheduled next, and the broker relationship you need for the charter after that. There is one real yacht we are going to follow through this business. It was 48 meters long. It completed 7 summer charters at weekly rates between 250,000 and 310,000 euros. From the marina that looked like a spectacular year. What remained after the year was over is the question that controls this entire business. Before the first guest arrives, though, you have to decide what kind of company you are actually buying, because the phrase yacht charter company hides 3 very different businesses. A broker may own no yacht at all. It finds clients, recommends vessels, arranges contracts, and earns commission. A management company may operate yachts for other owners, handling crew, budgets, compliance, maintenance, and schedules. The version people picture is the expensive one. Your company owns the yacht itself. That means the yacht may be held through an owning company, marketed by a charter manager, sold through retail brokers, and operated by a captain whose authority over safety does not disappear because your name is on the paperwork. The arrangement gives you the asset, but it also sends the large bills in your direction. If the calendar stays empty, the broker does not absorb the annual cost. If the engines need major work, the charter manager does not suddenly own them. You do. You own the yacht. You depend on almost everyone around it. That difference becomes obvious the first time personal preference collides with commercial operation. You may want a particular anchorage or a faster passage because guests are arriving. The captain still has the authority to refuse an unsafe instruction. A signed charter still has to fit weather, local rules, crew capability, and the condition of the vessel. Ownership gives you the right to choose the business. It does not let you suspend the realities that keep the business legal and safe. Start with the purchase. Current asking prices for used yachts around 47 to 50 meters show how quickly this becomes serious. One may be offered around 18,750,000 euros, another around 22,800,000, another around 24 million. Those are asking prices, not guaranteed sale prices, and builder, age, condition, specification, and seller expectations create a wide spread. But even the low end of that group is not the full entry cost. Picture the yacht coming out of the water before you buy it. Surveyors inspect the hull, propulsion, machinery, electronics, and safety systems. A beautiful interior cannot cancel an engine problem. A recent photograph cannot prove that commercial certificates are current. If the yacht was built around one owner's private use, it may need work before it is ready to accept paying guests under the commercial rules that apply to its flag and cruising area. Then the crew has to be recruited, insurance has to be bound, a berth has to be arranged. The vessel may need repairs, new guest furnishings, updated communications, current safety equipment, professional photography, and enough working capital to survive before the first reliable season develops. You have not opened the business yet. You have made the business capable of opening. This is where an older yacht can look like the smart shortcut. Pay less for the hull, keep more capital in reserve, and improve the return. Sometimes that is exactly right. A well-maintained older yacht with a respected crew and a useful layout can compete successfully, but the cheaper yacht can also be a transfer of unfinished work. The previous owner gets the sale price. You get the machinery that reaches its next service interval, the interior that now looks tired beside newer listings, and the yard period that happens during the month you hope to start earning. The question is not whether the yacht is old. The question is whether the price reflects what it will take to make the yacht dependable. Before the first inquiry arrives, the yacht has to enter the market. Photographers are taken. The charter manager publishes the rate and available dates. Brokers compare it with other vessels they already know. A yacht can be physically ready and still commercially invisible if the people advising clients do not trust the operation or cannot explain why this particular week is worth the price. Then the first charter inquiry arrives. A client wants a summer week. The advertised base rate is 300,000 euros. The broker sends over the request, the charter manager checks availability, and the captain begins looking at the proposed itinerary. For the first time, the yacht appears to be doing what you bought it to do. The client's total invoice may be much larger than the advertised rate. There is the base charter fee. There may be taxes. There may be a delivery charge if the yacht needs to move into position. There is usually an advance provisioning allowance, often called the APA, which may be somewhere around 20 to 40% of the base fee. There may also be a security deposit. To the client, this can feel like one enormous payment. It is not one enormous piece of revenue. The APA is a working fund controlled through the captain for the guest's charter-specific spending. Food, beverages, fuel used during the trip, port charges, and requested activities can be paid from it. If some remains unused, it is accounted for. Taxes are not owner profit. A refundable deposit is not owner profit. A delivery fee may simply compensate for moving the yacht. The base fee itself is reduced by broker commission under the contract before the owner receives the net charter income, so the guest may wire an extraordinary sum of money, and a meaningful part of it passes through the operation without ever becoming yours. That sounds disappointing, but it also seems manageable. The yacht still commands a huge weekly rate. Sell enough weeks and the annual cost should disappear. The captain opens the calendar. Your company owns 52 weeks in theory. In practice, it owns a much smaller collection of commercially useful dates. Demand follows weather, destinations, holidays, and events. The strongest summer weeks can command premium rates. Christmas and New Year can do the same. Outside those windows, the yacht may be in the wrong region, competing against discounts, crossing an ocean, undergoing maintenance, or simply waiting for demand that never arrives. Industry professionals have described roughly 8 to 12 charter weeks as normal in part of the larger yacht market. Though the real result changes with size, location, owner use, condition, and how commercial the program is, that range is not a law. It is a warning about inventory. The yacht exists for 52 weeks. The business may live or die on fewer than 12. Now the calendar reaches July. Your family wants the yacht for one of the best weeks of the summer. It is the trip you imagined when you signed the purchase documents. The charter manager also has a qualified client asking for the same dates at the high season rate. Nothing prevents you from taking your own yacht. But that week has a price even if no invoice arrives. A premium charter week cannot be stored and sold in October. Once July passes, that inventory is gone. The crew still gets paid. The insurance remains. The berth, management, and maintenance costs remain. The only thing removed is the revenue. The owner can become the company's most expensive guest. That is the personal conflict at the center of this business. To make the yacht perform commercially, you have to release the dates that made ownership emotionally attractive in the first place. Assume you give the week to the client. The charter is booked in one coastal destination. The next request begins several hundred miles away. On a spreadsheet, the two bookings sit neatly beside each other. On the water, the yacht has to travel between them. The crew clears the first guests, restocks, cleans, checks equipment, and prepares for the next group. The vessel moves without paying passengers aboard. Fuel is burned. Machinery accumulates hours. If the distance is large enough, the transfer may consume 2 or 3 days. That could have made the calendar more efficient. Both charters can be profitable on their own while the empty journey between them weakens the season. A good calendar is not just a collection of sold weeks. The weeks have to fit together physically. Now the second group arrives, and the scale of the yacht creates another surprise. Under an important commercial code, many qualifying yachts over 24 meters operate with no more than 12 passengers. Other certifications and jurisdictions can allow different arrangements, and some vessels carry more, but the common 12-guest structure reveals something about scale. A yacht can become dramatically larger without serving a dramatically larger paying party. The larger vessel may offer more privacy, more deck space, longer range, larger tenders, more equipment, and more elaborate amenities. It may charge far more for the week, but it is not adding rooms in the way a hotel does. It is intensifying the experience for roughly the same guest group. That means the yacht itself is only part of what justifies the rate. Watch the crew during one charter day. Before the guests wake, someone is already preparing breakfast, checking weather, cleaning decks, reviewing the route, inspecting equipment, and monitoring the machinery below. The chef is working from the preference sheet. The captain is balancing the client's desired itinerary against weather, safety, and local restrictions. Engineers are protecting systems the guests may never see. The interior team is turning cabins, serving meals, handling laundry, and noticing small problems before they become visible. The deck crew is launching tenders and preparing activities. The guests see a week that appears effortless because the crew absorbs the effort. Personnel is also one of the largest permanent cost categories. A mid-size superyacht may carry around 8 to 15 full-time crew, depending on the vessel and operating model. Salaries are only the beginning. There is training, travel, rotations, recruitment, uniforms, payroll administration, and the disruption that follows when experienced people leave. This is why a respected captain, a strong chef, and a stable service team can keep an older yacht commercially attractive. The photographs earn attention. The people create the week that brokers and clients remember. If the captain leaves, the company has not lost a piece of equipment. It may have lost broker confidence, operating knowledge, crew stability, and part of the yacht's reputation at the same time. The most important asset aboard may be the one capable of resigning. That reputation also changes how the next booking is won. A client may begin by asking for a yacht of a certain size in a certain destination. The broker still has to decide which vessel to recommend. A known captain, a chef with a record of meeting difficult preferences, and a crew that has delivered consistently reduce the risk of disappointing an important client. The yacht is competing before the guest ever sees it. The first 2 charters finish successfully. The owner looks at the calendar and sees more inquiries. Then the chief engineer raises a problem. A component needs attention. It has not failed yet. The yacht can probably continue. The available yard slot overlaps with a week that might still be sold. This is the kind of decision that separates a luxury object from a charter operation. Taking the yacht out of service guarantees no revenue during the yard period. Delaying the work preserves the possibility of another booking. On paper, postponement can make the season look better. Until the component fails, a luxury client is not buying a yacht that will probably be ready. The vessel has to be staffed, clean, supplied, legal, in the correct location, and mechanically dependable when the guest arrives. Maintenance is not separate from revenue. It is what makes the promised week deliverable. Assume the work is delayed and the system fails during a charter. The repair bill is only the first loss. Depending on the failure and the contract, the client may be entitled to a partial refund, or may be able to terminate after a qualifying period of disablement. The captain has to change the itinerary. The yacht may need to enter port or reach a yard. The next guests are expecting to board somewhere else in a few days. Their provisions may already be ordered. Their broker has already placed professional credibility behind the recommendation. Now one machine is touching several weeks at once. The current guests are waiting for an answer. The next broker is waiting for proof that boarding can happen on time. The crew is trying to solve a technical problem while continuing to deliver calm service above deck. The owner is watching a repair estimate grow beside a refund question and a second contract that may have to be moved. Insurance may cover some losses under some policies. It does not manufacture another peak week. It does not move the yacht instantly to the next port. It does not erase the client's memory of the holiday that failed. This is the structural risk. The yacht has enormous fixed costs, limited premium inventory, and a delivery promise that depends on thousands of physical parts, and a full team of people working correctly at the same time. The safest-looking expense to postpone can be the expense protecting the entire calendar. This is also why the annual budget never behaves like the guest invoice. When no guest is aboard, voyage-specific food and fuel may fall. The permanent system does not disappear. Crew remains. Insurance remains. Berthing, management, compliance, training, communications, and routine servicing continue. Then come the yard periods, where the vessel is lifted, opened, inspected, repaired, painted, and prepared for the next season. One industry planning benchmark places annual running costs at roughly 10 to 15% of purchase value, while stressing that age, complexity, route, size, and operating ambition can move the real number substantially. A yacht acquired for €20 million might therefore be planned around roughly €2 to €3 million in annual running costs. Some years will be lower. A major refit can make another year much higher. That cost exists before financing, depreciation, or any return on the purchase capital enters the discussion. Now return to the real 48-meter yacht. It was built in 2017 and operated in the Western Mediterranean. During the summer, it completed 7 charter weeks. The weekly rate ranged from €250,000 to €310,000. By now, you can see what had to happen behind those 7 bookings. The owner had to release commercially valuable dates. Brokers had to trust the yacht enough to recommend it. Guests had to accept the rate. The crew had to deliver the experience. The calendar had to work geographically. The yacht had to remain available and mechanically ready through the season. 7 groups walked aboard. 7 weeks of 6-figure pricing were sold. The yacht produced €1,592,000 in net charter income. Its annual running cost was €1,575,000. What remained was €17,000. That is not a failed charter program. The program covered the stated annual running cost. The yacht stayed active, the crew delivered the season, the owner reached a result many yachts do not reach. But €17,000 is not the return people imagine when they see a weekly rate above €250,000, and the comparison does not prove that the yacht itself was a profitable investment. It compares net charter income with stated annual running cost. It does not establish a return on the tens of millions required to acquire the vessel. It does not automatically include financing, depreciation, the opportunity cost of the capital, owner-level taxes, or every exceptional refit item. The operation nearly paid for the year. It did not prove that the asset paid for itself. That difference is the deepest economic truth in this business. Charter can turn an enormous annual expense into a smaller one. In a rare, highly commercial program, it may cover ordinary operating costs or leave a modest surplus. But cost recovery and investment return are not the same achievement, and notice what the owner had to surrender to reach even that result. The yacht was prioritized for charter. The best dates were treated as inventory. The crew, location, maintenance, and broker network had to take precedence over spontaneous personal use. The owner could still enjoy the yacht, but not as though the commercial calendar were optional. The yacht worked because the owner allowed it to behave like a company asset. At this point, the escape seems obvious. Buy a larger yacht, charge close to €1,000,000 per week, and let scale create the margin. A real 85-meter example tested that idea. It completed 8 charter weeks at rates between €850,000 and €950,000. Net charter income reached €4,680,000. The stated annual running cost was €5,110,000. The program finished €430,000 below that cost. Bigger gave the yacht more pricing power. It also created a much larger organization to support, more crew, more complex systems, more expensive maintenance, larger equipment, greater insurance exposure, and more costly yard work. A larger rate does not automatically outrun a larger machine, nor does beauty create its own customers. In early 2025, a market report counted more than 2,150 yachts over 30 meters available for charter. That number was a dated market snapshot, but it shows what a prospective client sees. Not one magnificent yacht in an empty bay, pages of alternatives. The client can compare age, layout, rate, location, amenities, crew profile, and available dates. Newer yachts may book earlier. Older yachts can still compete, but they need condition, crew, value, or reputation strong enough to survive the comparison. The market does not care what the yacht cost you. It does not care how much the refit hurt. It does not care that you believe your vessel is special. It asks what this week offers beside every other week for sale. Now compare two owners standing on nearly identical decks. The first owner bought carefully and kept cash in reserve. The yacht entered the season commercially ready. The crew had worked together long enough to build trust. The best dates were offered to clients. Bookings were grouped so the yacht was not wasting days racing between distant ports. The rate reflected competing yachts rather than the owner's pride. Maintenance happened before the engineer had to make an emergency call. That owner may cover a meaningful portion of the annual cost. In an exceptional year, the program may cover ordinary operations or create a limited surplus. The owner still gets personal use, but around the commercial calendar rather than through it. The second owner also has a beautiful yacht, but July is blocked for family. The Christmas period is blocked too. The yacht is priced as though the market should reimburse the purchase decision. A tired interior sits beside newer vessels online. The captain leaves, then the chef follows. A booking ends far from where the next one begins. Maintenance is pushed past the season because the yard quote feels too high. Then one failure removes the week that was supposed to rescue the budget. From the dock, both companies own luxury yachts. Only one has built a reliable product. So, does owning a luxury yacht charter company work? Yes, under conditions that are much stricter than the fantasy suggests. The yacht has to be acquired at a defensible price, prepared for commercial use, maintained before failure, staffed by a crew clients and brokers trust, positioned where demand exists, and released during the weeks capable of earning the strongest rates. The owner needs enough cash to survive unsold dates and enough discipline not to consume the best inventory personally. Even then, the realistic prize is usually not that strangers repay the yacht. It is that strangers help carry the cost of a yacht the owner already wanted. Go back to the first image. The yacht is still anchored in clear water. The guests are still paying an extraordinary amount for the week. The owner can still step aboard when the commercial schedule allows it. But the view now has a calendar behind it. There is a captain deciding what is safe, a broker deciding what can sell, a crew creating the experience, an engineer protecting the next booking. and a maintenance schedule taking weeks away before a breakdown can take more. You would not simply own a yacht and collect charter fees, you would own a small number of valuable weeks, and every day of the year required to make those weeks work.